Hi there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to flip through quarter 4 in my 2025 Take a Note. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so this book is done. It got a little chunky. I'm going to flip through quarter 4 today and kind of talk in more detail about those spreads. But I will have another video coming next month with a flip through of the whole journal, kind of focusing more on my thoughts as far as how this journal went and showing how it evolved throughout the year. So let's start with quarter 4. So quarter 4 actually started with travel, and I was so busy this week, I did not get to fill this in. If you are new to my Take a Note videos, my general way of using this is as a functional planner and also memory keeper. So I use the weekly section for my schedule and some task lists and tracking. Then each day I have my task list, and then I come back and fill it in later with my memory keeping. And I tend to print photos and put those in here. So I did print the photos, but I did not come back and do the memory keeping. And part of that was because I did not take this with me while traveling. So here is when, this was the day we flew and left. So I stopped doing task lists. And my intention was to come back and write out like the facts of what we did each day. I did put the locations, but besides that, I did not come back and do this. I did put the photos, and you know, it would have been nice, but it was just a lot to backfill. So I'm thinking about in 2026, maybe bringing this with me when I'm traveling. I'm not sure yet. Then I got back, and so I had some big task lists here. Just had a lot to do to get back into the swing of things. And then my first like full week back. So here is back to my general format. So typically I have my meals and my tasks, my schedule, my tracking, and then my daily task list. When I go into the office, I typically don't use this because I don't use this for work. I have a separate planner I use for that. So I usually don't have much of a task list on my office days because I don't really do anything outside of work. When I work from home, I tend to do some other stuff because it's just a less stressful day and it's a shorter day because I don't have commute and everything. So I do have the ability to do a little bit more, but like here I had some stuff to do. And then I came in and fill in with some details. Typically, I print my photos and do all of the detail filling back in on Sunday. So I did it here on Sunday afternoon, and then I never came back and filled in Sunday evening. I'm adding in like stickers and doodles just to kind of highlight what's going on in my life. I typically try to print like one photo per day. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes it ends up being not quite from that same day. Like this one was actually for this day, but I didn't have a photo on this day. So that's what I just ended up putting it there. And some days I just don't have a photo, and that's totally okay too. If I have like extra space, I'll add washi tape or other decor, but typically I use it to fill in just kind of like details of what I did. And I tend to use this as a reference when working on Project Life or other scrapbooking. For each week, I tend to do kind of like a color scheme, but for my stickers and like what I did is generally the same kind of pattern, but I might do a certain color for like larger words and for my highlighting, and then I tend to put washi here. Sometimes I'll add washi though, like if there's more space, and that one doesn't necessarily coordinate. For this week, I wanted to go more colorful, so I did like the rainbow across the top with that kind of coordinated with this washi. And here I tend to do like pick a washi to go here, and that ends up being kind of what prompts the design for the spread, but that's usually just for like my planning section. And when I come back and do my decoration, I tend to kind of forget that. So like here I use this red. I probably should have done like a rainbow, but I kind of forgot about it. This week I used a fountain pen with blue ink. This is my favorite ink. It's from Ferris Wheel Press. It's called Starlight Stories. And I have it in a TWSBI Eco in extra fine. I might have had it in a different pen at that time, but it was probably like the same pen, just a different like version. Actually, it probably was that same pen. And yeah, just kind of going through and documenting whatever's going on. Here I decided to do check boxes rather than usually I'm using my Zig dot marker for bullet points, but for fountain pens, they don't write very well on top of other things. So I used the check boxes instead. Generally in here, I'm using gel pen though. I'm typically using the Uniball 1 0.38. This is a chunky one. They also have like a normal size. And then here we're getting into December, so I'm doing some like Christmas stuff. Having fun with just bringing in some washi tapes. Trying to do some doodles, but not always successfully. Adding in variety of stickers. A lot of the stickers that I get are from the Coffee Monster Co., but I also try to mix in ones from other manufacturers so it doesn't all look the same. Here I went to New York City for a couple of days. And then here I didn't have a photo for both days, so I just turned this one horizontal so that it would not take up too much of one day and not enough of the other. I tend to have like enough journaling of like my memory keeping to fill not a full day. Like this was like harder for me to fill. So if I have a long to-do list, then like this, I don't necessarily need a photo, but then I ended up putting washi because there was extra space. So putting the photo definitely helps me fill it in. And then that's the end. So there was one more week in here, but I just moved into my new one. So you'll see that in my January flip through. In 2026, I'm still using the same planner. And I'm using it the same way, but instead of sharing quarterly flip throughs, I'm going to combine it with flip throughs of some of my other journals for each month. So hopefully that works out. And then stay tuned because I will do a full flip through of the entire thing probably next month just to kind of talk through. And I know a lot of people like to see kind of the overall of the book. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye.